Hi, I'm Dana Underwood, CEO and founder of Avanti Alliance. I recently shared my story of how I left my corporate career of over 13 years because I wanted more. I had a career that I loved. It was demanding, it was fast paced, it was all of the things that I was looking for. Um, but when I had my son, I realized that some of those things that I loved about my job were also some of the things that were going to make it unsustainable for my new life. I could no longer show up at my job the way that I used to, working late nights, working weekends, always saying yes. I couldn't show up to my job the way that I wanted to and still show up at home the way I wanted to for my family. And I struggled to figure out how to balance both of those things. We talk a lot about work life integration, and we're told that we can do it all, right? You can be a working mom and you can be the perfect soccer mom, PTA mom, whatever that may be. But we aren't really given the tools or the support in order to be able to do that. I knew that I wasn't alone in feeling this way, but I have to say I was very inspired by the responses that I got when I did share my story, specifically the private messages that were sent, where mostly women were telling me, this is me too. I also am struggling with this. And while it's inspiring that I've resonated with a lot of you, it's also really indicative of the problem that is out there and the need for our mentality about how we work to change. A lot of companies that are already more forward thinking and recognize this need for flexibility with their employees. They know that in order to attract and keep the top talent, they have to recognize that there is a life component to these people that are very important to their day to day business. The careers that we have really should augment our lives. It doesn't define them, it's not the only thing that we have. And so, in order to be able to succeed at both things, personally and professionally, um, we need to be able to have the flexibility to do what we need to do and succeed in both. It really is an outdated mentality of desk time equals productivity or efficiencies or are indicative of top talent. The person who sits at a desk for 12 hours a day, I would question where are their efficiencies. If you can sit at home for 8 and knock it out of the park, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you do that? So really the goal of Avanti Alliance is to connect those experienced professionals. So people like me, we've been doing this a long time. We love what we do. We're good at it. But we just need to do it in a way that looks a little bit differently now. So connecting those experienced professionals with more flexible options. So think part-time, job share, contract jobs. And again, this is really for forward-thinking companies, companies that recognize that top talent is demanding this, and that it's going to benefit all of us, right? An employee who can show up and focus on the task at hand and the job that they're doing while they're there for the day instead of who am I going to find to go pick up my kid from daycare when it closes at 6, is going to be more productive and more engaged and more loyal to you as a company because it is very obvious that you value them as the person, not them as, the widget filler. So my hope is that we can continue to move this conversation along. I am passionate about creating a community where we can be just really honest with what it is that we need and what flexibility means and why it has to exist in today's day and age, especially when we're expected to be constantly on for those companies that we are serving. So appreciate all of the support and all of the, me too's. We will continue, like I said, to have the conversation. And if you want to learn more about what it is that we're doing over at Avanti Alliance, you can check out the link in our profile or in this article here. And we would love to have you join us. Thanks.